This video is going to be a film study analysis of what Leonard Williams did to the Arizona Cardinals offensive line offense to Kyler Murray on Sunday. He was utterly ridiculous in the Seahawks 16-6 win. He helped Seattle's defense total 5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 1 interception that Kobe Bryant took to the house, 69-yard pick six in the third quarter. Williams and the D tackles controlled the inside gaps against the run. They attacked the pocket, collapsing it in on Kyler Murray often against the pass. They held the Cardinals to a season-low 49 yards rushing while majoring in their nickel defense. What Williams did individually, he's a defensive player of the week. I just don't see another way to categorize it. 6 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks. He nearly had another sack, would have been a strip sack. I'll show you in this video. It was ruled incomplete, goes down as a pass defense, I believe. 3 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits overall. A borderline historic performance for a guy who he's close to 50 sacks for his career now in 10 years. I think he's at 48.5, something like that. Look, Arizona came into Sunday averaging 149 yards on the ground for the season. During their 4-game win streak before Sunday's loss, they were averaging 26 points per game in the previous month. They were held to 49 yards on 14 carries and a season-low 6 points. Williams, Reed, Hankins, Murphy, all of the D tackles simply destroyed pretty much everything that they wanted to accomplish. Let's get to the film, and I'll show you, I think, 9 plays. He's down here as the bottom side defensive tackle. First quarter, first possession, in fact. I really like the scheme that Arizona's using here. I find it interesting, but Williams, first of all, there's a really slow get-off by the right guard here, almost confusingly so. So this is the matchup, Williams against the right guard here. Again, I will give you the end zone angle, but I think the all-22 kind of gives a better look at it because of how late the right guard is getting out of his stance. It doesn't look like he's expecting the snap. So Williams gets into him, number one, and then is able to fold or bend back down inside to tackle Connor. I believe Connor had 8 yards on 7 carries overall for the day. What I do like about the scheme is the left tackle released up to the linebacker level immediately. One of the tight ends engaged the edge defender initially, and then he will work up to the second level while the fullback / tight end tries to kick out the defensive end. It doesn't work in this case. I like anything that's a delayed nature or a delayed combo, I guess I should say. This is the same play from the end zone angle. You kind of lose Williams a little bit pre-snap because Knight, the inside linebacker, is in the way. You'll see him set the guard back and then fold to our right, the inside. Connor does get 4 yards out of it, but this play, I think, gives you an idea of how relentless those guys played as a group on Sunday. The entire defensive line, inside linebacker level, they chose to combo or double team Byron Murphy there. Single block Leonard Williams didn't work out in their favor. There was almost no good choice for Arizona's offensive line, in terms of trying to block their defensive tackles. First possession here still, this is a 3rd and 14. Williams is going to get upfield. Now, he doesn't, I don't think, play a role in the sack necessarily, but he's occupying the guard. And I think you're supposed to see a fold underneath by the edge defender. It looks like Boye Mafe gets into it a little bit late. It doesn't necessarily matter because Knight and Ernest Jones IV have occupied everything and given Kyler Murray only one escape route. It's up the middle. It's the burst. When Leonard Williams gets going on a particular track, I mean, he's going to continue in that path. There's really nothing much you can do about it. Like I said, he didn't play a role in the sack there, but I think when he's being single blocked, at least by these offensive linemen, it looked like to me these guards for Arizona, not trying to be disparaging, but an absolute mismatch in terms of them trying to block Leonard Williams one-on-one. Moving forward, second possession here, and he will swim the right guard late. Meanwhile, Hankins, 97, is absolutely setting the center back into the backfield. He folds down inside from the right-hand side of the defense. Williams from the left-hand side against the right guard. They sandwich Benson, 2-yard gain on a 1st and 10. Run it back one more time from the all-22. I think I give you the end zone angle. Seattle was in their nickel defense predominantly throughout the whole game, no matter whether it was 12 personnel or 13 personnel. If they can stop the run, I shouldn't say like this. There's no way they go through the whole season holding people to 49 yards on the ground. But if they're able to slow down significantly people's run game while maintaining a too high safety structure, I think that's exactly what Mike Macdonald wants to do. From a formulaic standpoint, that's what he did in Baltimore in 2023. Stop or slow down the run game, get you into known passing situations, and utilize a multitude of blitzes and different versions of each coverage. It's not just playing 6 or 8 coverage. It's just playing 3 or 4 or 5, but different versions of each one, such that there's almost an exponential number of possibilities for the quarterback to consider once the ball is snapped. Move into the third possession here. This is going to be Williams. It looks like a strip sack, but it's overturned. It's a 2nd and 6 pass rush. I think he's being held briefly, and then the right guard releases because he understands he's going to get called for it, and that allows Williams to get his hand in there on Kyler Murray in his throwing motion. Originally ruled a fumble, I believe, and then taken back to the house, but the NFL cuts off the video here because it was overturned and ruled to be incomplete, so there's no reason for them to show you a Seahawks defender taking it back to the house. I'll give you the end zone angle of this one. It's violent, and that's one thing I think at 6'5", 310, 312 pounds, whatever he is, Williams is extremely violent with those guys inside. He really reminds me of Calais Campbell. I know that from a career production standpoint, numbers don't match up compared to Calais Campbell, but the size, the strength, and the versatility to play D-tackle and D-end edge defender at times, which he actually did play at certain points earlier in his career with the Jets and the Giants. He's a finisher as well. I had heard people talk about how important, going back to last year, how important a signing or pickup it was, and I wasn't sure myself. After seeing him play last year with Seattle when they brought him over, and then early in this season, he's got 5 sacks this year, by the way. That one was really close to being a game-changing moment in the first quarter at a period in time when, look, Seattle's offense is absolutely getting nothing accomplished. That's going to be I think, a concern moving forward. They got 2 road games in a row here at the Jets and then at Arizona in the divisional rematch 2 weeks from now. They got to get more out of the offense, even if the defense plays to this level. Well, I guess if they play to this level, they can beat anybody on any given Sunday. I will say this to Seahawks fans, too. This is around the point in the season whereby each of the previous 2 years with Baltimore, Mike Macdonald's defense turned into just this incredibly sharp, razor-sharp group that got things accomplished if they stopped the run. When they had to deal with the Rams last year in Baltimore, and the Rams were able to line up in 11 personnel and get some things going with the run game, that interrupted the flow of the Ravens' defense, that is. If Macdonald is able to slow down or significantly halt a team's run game out of a too high safety structure, and Ernest Jones and Knight and the interior defensive tackles can handle the run game, I think you guys are looking at a season that changes drastically based upon the first 8 or 9 weeks of the defense when certainly the nickel run defense was struggling mightily. They seem to have righted that ship in the last 3 weeks. So this is a ridiculous rep here by Leonard Williams. It doesn't go down as a sack. I would hope that it's considered a pressure. I don't necessarily track pressures or the site that I use to get my statistics for videos. I don't really talk about it a whole lot, but it's I think Pro Football Reference. So check out Williams against the left guard here. This is a 3rd and 13. This is the completion of the third possession, by the way. So at the switch between the first and the second quarter, completely put the left guard on train tracks. Murray has to get out of there. The violence level, and then for a man of his size to be able to do this, that's why I feel comfortable comparing him to Calais Campbell. I mean, obviously, Calais Campbell played with the Ravens. I was able to see him play football for a couple of years, on film at least, and so I got a tremendous amount of respect for that. But I think Leonard Williams has a similar skill set, and you'll see more evidence of that later. He'll line up on the edge and defeat Paris Johnson on a speed rush to the outside. So this is the same rep from the end zone angle. Second play, of the second quarter. Walking the left guard back. He didn't trip over anyone. Complete mismatch. Once he's able to get his hands on the inside, destroys the pocket, and Kyler Murray has no real option. Still tries to get his throw in there. Julian Love, who I think is extremely underrated safety across the NFL, makes an interception, but of course is unable to get either foot in bounds. Moving to the fifth possession here, and you'll get a stunt, a pick stunt between Williams and Reed. So Williams is picking the center, and then Reed is going to fold to the other gap. That's not exactly drawn on the path. I kind of had to draw it just so you guys could see the differential between them. So they've executed it well to this point. The only problem for Arizona is Williams is in between the two offensive linemen, and he's got a direct path to the quarterback. I don't know who touched Kyler Murray first, but they credit Williams and Reed with a half sack. It looks like to me Williams almost pushed that same left guard into Kyler Murray's lap. This is fifth possession, like I said. Same play from the end zone angle. It's a 1st and 10. Possession's pretty much over here. From this wide alignment, he's going to take the guard into the center, and then Reed is trying to loop around. Again, I'm not necessarily drawing that on the exact path that they're going. I'm using that so you can see the differential between the two lines because I'm using the same color. There is the pick by Williams. The left guard tries to stay with it, and it turns into a 2-on-1 because Williams took the center and dislodged him, upended him. Really an athletic or physical mismatch, if you ask me, with the interior defensive linemen, defensive tackles for Seattle. Hopefully that's the case 2 weeks from now when they play in Arizona again, because if it is, then the Cardinals are going to drastically have to change their strategy. So much 12 and 13 personnel just didn't get anything accomplished in the run game. Like I said, 14 carries for 49 yards. If you're not going to get in the 100 to 120 range against Mike McDonald's defense from a rushing standpoint, I think you're really going to have trouble getting wins against him consistently. Moving forward here, we're now into the third quarter. It's 13-3 Seahawks. This is after the pick six by Kobe Bryant. Check this out. I think Leonard Williams recognizes something. He actually points, and maybe the inside linebacker recognized something. I believe it's Jones. So in any case, watch the scheme, the blocking scheme that the Cardinals use. They're trying to down block him with the tackle and then use the center and the guard in the center, to pull and loop around. I would call this down sweep. They just don't get it accomplished because the down block by Paris Johnson doesn't work. I think there's a huge body slam by Williams. Like I said, he's a violent football player. It can't be fun for an offensive lineman to have to go against him throughout the course of a 60-minute game. So he's incapable of being down blocked by alignment here from Paris Johnson, but I also think he's tightening up his alignment. Look at the communication that's happening between Jones and Williams, and then how he adjusts his alignment. Stemming down just before the snap. So what he's doing, keep in mind, Paris Johnson's trying to down block him, and they're trying to pull and wrap with the center and the guard. Again, 62, the left guard is slow out of his stance. So once he stems down here, it's impossible for Paris Johnson to get to him. I think there's some real recognition by Jones, Williams, or perhaps both. It's a beautiful example of just awareness of formation. I have no idea what Ernest Jones IV or Leonard Williams saw, but they both saw something, adjusted his alignment, adjusted his path, turned into not only a 4-yard loss, but an incredibly intimidating play by Leonard Williams to tackle Connor for a 4-yard loss. Third quarter still, and this is one that, I mean, if you weren't impressed by the totality of what you've seen so far, this one just throws it over the top for me. This is why I say, this is Defensive Player of the Week. I think I said Defensive Player of the Year earlier. My apologies for that. This is Defensive Player of the Week. This caps it off for me. It's an edge rush to the outside against Paris Johnson on a 3rd and 14 in the third quarter. Again, it's already 13-3 Seahawks. A little bit of an attempt at a chip by the tight end, probably just widening up Williams' path. Now, there is some interior pressure here from Draymond Jones that causes Kyler Murray to step back and basically go into Leonard Williams' path. So I understand there's people who could say, well, Coach, if Kyler Murray doesn't back up, then he's not going to be in the path, and that would be a quote, win for Paris Johnson against Williams. Fine. It still goes down as a sack. It still counts, and I think just gives you an illustration of how talented he is and then how much the staff recognizes he can get done in different positions on the field. Interior defensive tackle at this point, essentially 3 technique. Put him outside on the edge against the starting level left tackle, and he gets a win, albeit one where Kyler Murray backs up into it because of the interior pressure. These guards really had trouble for Arizona. There's no reason for me to say disparaging things about them, but I think they've got some real work to do if they're gonna be able to handle the physicality of Seattle's defensive front. Maybe more screens, more quick passes by Kyler Murray, try to slow down some of the pass rush and some of the violence that those guys played with. Fun game to watch when I did rewatch it late Sunday night, and then rewatching the defensive film early Monday morning to try to get film study videos out for you guys. The Ravens play Monday night, and the Lions played Sunday, so I was completing film study videos on them as well. I'll try to get something else out that's Ernest Jones IV related for late Tuesday night, if you guys are interested. That would be more of compiling what he's done the first 4 weeks playing in Mike McDonald's defense. 47 tackles, I think, overall in those 4 games. Yes, the Seahawks are only 2-2, so pessimists or non-Seahawks fans would probably say he hasn't had much impact. I disagree. I think they've played a really good quality of defense in the last 3 weeks. Could have very easily won the Rams game. That seems quite clear to me. And I think Ernest Jones IV is a guy who, depending on what salary structure he's looking for, Seattle's front office should try to re-sign right now, because he looks like a building block piece to me as a Seahawks fan who watches the games more consistently than I do, and probably more intently in terms of when you watch it live. Feel free to let me know what you think of those thoughts. I know I digressed a little bit there, but when the Seahawks front office traded for Ernest Jones IV, I thought that it was potentially a game-changing signing, and yesterday it certainly looked like it. The whole front six, played exceptional with a lot of physicality playing downhill. Leonard Williams, I thought, was at the forefront of it, and in my opinion, like I said earlier, Defensive Player of the Week should be stamped already by the NFL and whoever votes on it. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at what Leonard Williams did to the Arizona Cardinals offensive line and blocking schemes, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.